If you wanted more games in the divisional round of the Major League Baseball playoffs, you are going to be disappointed. The divisional round ending with a whimper, an absolute whimper. Now, if you did not watch, and maybe you were watching the football game and you didn't watch, but Nick Castellanos went monster mashing for the Fightin' Phils as he became the first player in baseball history to have multiple homers in consecutive postseason games, as he did it again, leading Philadelphia to a 3-1 victory and the extermination of the Atlanta baseball team in 4 games. Philly punching their ticket to the Final Four of Major League Baseball. They cut down the nets there. They're going to the Final Four. They have a date with destiny. Well, it's actually a date with the Diamondbacks. I don't know if destiny will be there, but they will be playing the Diamondbacks in the National League Championship Series, which will begin on Monday. The Texas two-step over in the American League, the Rangers against the cheating Astros in the American League Championship Series. Everyone pulling for the Rangers in that one. So let us discuss, though. It's all about the National League and the better story in the losing locker room. You know how we operate in these parts. So who gets the biggest glass of blame sweet tea for the Braves? Who gets the biggest glass of the blame sweet tea for the Braves? I've got Butterfly Effect, Blue Ribbon, and Atlantic Ocean. And we will combine all of these things together. But be careful, because this Maller monologue is fraught with danger. All right, so listen, the Braves as a team collectively get to do the walk of shame. They have the tail between their legs and all that. This was a fiasco from the Atlanta side of things. For the Phillies, all the jigsaw puzzle pieces fit together as the Philadelphia Phillies were a buzzsaw playing home run derby as they beat up the Atlanta pitching staff there. They were the buzzsaw, the Phillies. The Braves brought a plastic butter knife, but not a good plastic butter knife, the kind you get at like a dollar store. It was a total washout. But let's get down to business. The question at hand, who gets the biggest glass of the blame sweet tea for the Braves? And we are getting forget a glass, we are getting a jumbo-sized pitcher of blame sweet tea for Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. He gets it. He's your headliner. He's the presumptive MVP. He's the leader in the clubhouse to win the Most Valuable Player award. Gaudy stat line, historical numbers during the regular season. He was given the curse of high expectations. So let's see. How did he do? Okay. I had 14 at-bats, 2 hits. So he's a little better than Mookie Betts at least, but a 143 batting average, 0 home runs, 0 runs batted in for the man that is going to take the Most Valuable Player award in the National League. And this is a teachable moment. It is a sporty version of the butterfly effect. A little different than the normal butterfly effect. What is the sporty butterfly effect, you ask? I'm glad you asked. I will tell you, the Braves thought with Ronald that they were getting a majestic butterfly. But keep in mind, he's a caterpillar, and not every caterpillar turns into a beautiful butterfly. Some caterpillars turn into moths, and in this case, Acuna turned out to be a moth, right? Everyone is not cut out for October pressure, and the man that's going to win the MVP award, he turned into a moth flying into a flame in the postseason. And we like the basketball cliche that it's a make-or-miss league, but it's really true in any of these sports. It's a make-or-miss league. You either get it done or you don't. And it appeared on my television, maybe my TV's broken, but it looked like Ronald Acuna Jr. went up there with a blindfold on. Do your job. He didn't do his job. It's not fair to criticize him. He was great during the regular season. My fat ass, okay? And unless I'm missing something, maybe I am, I don't know. I don't recall any October defining moments for Ronald. Do you? I don't. The Braves won the World Series, and he got hemorrhoids sitting on the bench watching because he was hurt that year. And if you look at the career numbers for Ronald Acuna Jr., 257 batting average, just 3 home runs, 29 postseason games, and across the board, his batting average, The power numbers, the slugging percentage, the OPS, all that is below regular season. Dare I say, he is the new Mr. May. And also, in addition, you talk about leadership. Now, what is leadership to you? Is leadership when things go right, you're out in front of the cameras, or is leadership when things go wrong, you take the shrapnel? So we are told by several moles who were hanging out in the losing locker room there in Atlanta. It was actually in Philadelphia, but it was the Atlanta locker room in Philadelphia, that Ronald Acuna Jr., the guy's going to win the MVP, put up all those great, sexy stats for the Bravos. And what did he do? After the Braves were eliminated, he became the Cowardly Lion. We are told from multiple sources that he snuck out of the losing locker room there, the Braves locker room, telling reporters he had to run to catch the bus while other players were in the locker room still, but he had to run to catch the bus. Can you say coward? I knew you could. All right, now furthermore, the thing that blows me about baseball, the thing that just drives me nuts. A couple years ago, I watched the National League Championship Series. I saw a lot of it in person. The Dodgers played the Atlanta Braves back in 2021 before the Dodgers started losing in the divisional round every year. But in that playoff series, I witnessed with my bifocals Eddie Rosario of Atlanta, who looked like the love child of Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams. He batted almost 600 against the Dodgers. So I know he didn't play that much in the National League divisional series here. He batted 143, though. A guy that batted over 500 a couple years ago in a playoff series batted under 150 in this. All right, now turning the page. Let's play true or false. You want to play true or false? I want to play true or false. Let's play true or false. All right, true or false. Major League Baseball ends up tweaking the playoff format because of the Braves' loss. All right, so the arrow on this does point towards the direction of true, but it's gummy because it's not just the Braves losing. It's the Orioles and the Dodgers. This is, and there's no other way to spin it, an unmitigated disaster for the business of baseball. Ultimately, this is all just a television show. It's a mini-series, the October mini-series of the postseason. Your top headline actors have all been eliminated from the show early on. Right? They've all. It's like the old show I used to love, The Sopranos, and they'd whack a key character pretty much every week. But Tony Soprano didn't get whacked in the show because he was a key actor. In this stage show, Tony Soprano would be whacked. And so here's the way this is going to play out. And trust me, I'm never wrong about these things. It's going to come to the discretion of the television overlords. There is a supply chain shortage of juice. And teams that won 90 or more games in the regular season went 1-13 in the postseason. Major League Baseball must protect the product at all costs. The product are the teams that are great. You're selling greatness, right? You can't prop up the Diamondbacks. Nobody gives a rat's ass about the Diamondbacks. Right? For those in Phoenix, sure, but for the rest of the country, who cares? It's not a great Cinderella story. And so you can put having, here's the context you can put this in. You can put having the Braves, Orioles, and Dodgers into this context, right? Having them all knocked out. It is akin to the NFL playoffs having the Chiefs, Eagles, and Bills knocked out in their first playoff games, right? Because those were the top three teams in the NFL, and the top three teams in Major League Baseball record-wise this year were the Braves, Orioles, and Dodgers. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And you're going to have to welcome in the bureaucracy, right? Because you can cut down on the punch above your weight teams. Cinderella, well, it's a nice story and sells a lot of tickets to the movie theater, but it makes for bad television, right? Expect a blue ribbon panel of 100 or so media members, managers, ex-managers, players, people from academia, political hacks to get involved. Now, the Mallard plan, we talked about this in a previous episode of the show. The Mallard plan is just, hey, play one day, wild card round, triple header if necessary. If the team that wins the first game wins the second game. That's it. And then the next day you move on. And so there's only a couple days off for the teams that have the supposed bye. But, of course, if this had gone the other way, we know how people react. If it had gone the other way and the Braves, Orioles, and Dodgers had all won big, it would have been, it's not fair. It's not fair to the wild card teams. So whatever happens, it's a reactionary period. Now, I did like what Nick Castellanos said after hitting a couple of bombs again. He said it best. He's learned that playoff baseball is different than the regular season. And here's the thing that's the great kicker about this. All these nerds, all these Ivy League guys that run baseball teams, nobody has been able to master the analytics in October. Haven't been able to do it, right? Look at this like the Olympics, right? The analytics that they use, they build for the Boston Marathon to run 26.2 miles. But in the playoffs, it's a 100-meter sprint. You don't have to pace yourself in the playoffs, and so we've seen what has happened. Now, last word here. Are the Fightin' Phils the team to beat of the final four teams on the card in Major League Baseball? So I am nodding my head yes. On Big Ben's big board, we have Philly number one. The Rangers, number two. My Texas Rangers. The Arizona Diamondbacks, number three. And there's actually no 4 on my big board. Number 4 is void. I don't put cheaters on my big board. So number 4 is void. And that's the order, right? So what makes the Fightin' Phils so special? Well, it's a couple of things, but they absolutely bedazzle you. And that line, that old line that clothes make the man, didn't they look good in the powder blues? Even blind Emmett, the Seahawk fan, thought they looked really good in those powder blue uniforms. Now, regardless, on the field, the Phillies in the playoffs here have been like the Atlantic Ocean. They just keep coming at you in waves here. Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner, who didn't seem to hit like that very often with the Dodgers in the postseason. I guess he found his bat in Philadelphia. And they've got stars that don't dim, like Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman, who disappear. Their stars don't disappear. Why not? Is it the cheesesteak? Is it the tasty cake? How come their stars actually get it done? The Dodger stars don't seem to get it done. How come Philly guys get it done? Anyway, they've been able to overrun and overwhelm opponents with the offense. We'll see if that continues against Arizona.